wanted to bring back the 11 titles under 30 bucks series, and these are all original pressings under $30. So that's sort of been the thing that ties it all together. I don't know how many more of these I can do. I think it's kind of getting a little thin. Maybe I'll do some specialized genre ones, but this one I wanted to add to this series for a little while, sort of thinking about a couple things. But then I was watching the Permanent Records channel, and Lance was showing this record, which I love so much, which I've had for some time now. Brenton Wood, Oogum Boogum, just one of the catchiest songs ever. And he does a couple of really great renditions of things on here. Give Me a Little Sign is a great song. We do a version of Psychotic Reaction because it's on this Double Shot label. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is a mono. Nice copy. Pretty nice copy. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's got to be cheap, because I know I got it pretty cheap. And then I was like, I'll certainly feature that. Let's do a soul. Funk and Soul 11 under 30 original pressings. Unfortunately, this record's not cheap. It has, like everything else, gone up in value. But I wanted to show it to start because it sort of inspired this episode. This rendition. Even though it is not under $30. So we can't include that. But let's talk about it. Funk and Soul records. Now, I don't have a giant collection. It's mainly up there of soul, funk, R&B, early R&B. But I do have a bunch of cool stuff, I think. And these are all these are the ones I found that are under $30. Some of them are edging towards $25, $30. So, but there are a few that are around 10 and under. So let's start with this one. I know I bought this one sealed. This is a sort of an interesting one. Jesse Hill, one of his only LPs. He's most known as the Oop Oop A Doo song. But this is his record for Blue Thumb. And it starts with a really interesting, I almost want to put it in, but a really interesting track to start it. Almost like this weird, free, spiritual thing. And then it goes into sort of more like R&B and everything. Yeah, the first track is sort of a misnomer, but it's just called the Introducement. The name of this record is Naturally. And it's good. He's sort of like a New Orleans, sort of R&B and a little funk. This I bought sealed. You can see Radio Shack 50 cents. It was cheap. I think there might even be another sealed copy up for around $20. So Jesse Hill Naturally. This is from 1972 on Blue Thumb. Yeah. 11 records under $30, original pressings. I'll show you what we're playing, as I like to do, in a minute. Curtis Mayfield, Back to the World. You can find this for around $20. This is one of his a little bit later. This is from 1973 on the Buddha label. Just all of Curtis's records at this time were just great funky soul classics. Yeah, there it is. You should all know this record. His records don't actually turn up all that often, although they're obviously very common. Tend to be sort of a bit in rough shape. I'm not going to get into sort of the talking about each of these records too much. I just really wanted to highlight some good gems to sort of look to grab that you can find out there. Hopefully, yeah. I just checked. All of these are 30 or under. So this one's not a gem. I mean, this one's obviously one we know. Most of these will be sort of more obscure. This one, not so much. The next one is the record we're playing. Now this one, I bought this for like $1, obviously for the cover. This is a good one. They do, well, you heard it, In the Bottle with Gil Scott-Heron. They had a hit with that song too, or a regional hit anyway. But this was on the Turbo label, right? I think it's, yeah, Turbo. And this is a white label promo, so this copy would be more expensive. Even, well, the sleeve is not nice, but This is one, there's like a lot of different variations. So if you're interested in this record, look at all the variations. I found one for like $15. So this is that good funky soul. This is from 1974. This is not that rare, free, spiritual, avant-garde jazz record. This is just the name of the title is Brother to Brother. I'm sorry, the name of the artist is Brother to Brother, but it's in the bottle, as you can see. You can plainly see. The next one. Now there's two. This is the third record of the Ohio Players, and this is the second in the series of Pleasure and then Pain. This is Pain. I don't have Pleasure, but quite the cover. It was not uncommon for like seeing a lot of bodies on funk and soul records in the 70s. But this is on Westbound. This one's great, pretty gnarly. We got two sleeves in here. What's going on? These Westbound labels. This is a very nice copy, actually. I'm really happy with that. But this one should hover around the $15 mark as well. Ohio Players, Pain. As I said, there's the other gatefold here. The first record was on Capitol, a little bit harder to find. I never see it, but Pleasure and Pain you can find, as well as all the later stuff. So Ohio Players, Pain, around $15 for that. I'm gonna move through this. Here's a more common one again. Grace Jones. I want to include a Grace Jones record, even though she's doing more of a disco and sort of new wave, but certainly rooted in R&B and funk. They do, of course, Night Clubbing's on this, as is the title of the record. This used to be a $5 record. I think it's actually a little bit tougher to get, but you do have Sly Dunbar and Robbie Shakespeare on this record. From, what is it, 1980? Every time I look for the year, I can't find it. It's got to be 82, 83. Certainly an iconic cover for Grace Jones. If you don't have this one, I know that one's an obvious one. You should have it. It's great. It's super cool and almost left field in its field. Moving on, here's an early R&B one, Jimmy McCracklin. If you like Bo Diddley, this is My Rockin' Soul. This is about an $8 record. United Superior Records. This is the early 60s. I remember getting this in Philly many years ago now. This is like that early sort of like almost garagey sort of jump blues, raw Jimmy McCracklin. An unheralded guitarist, pretty widely recorded. I don't remember a lot of the details off the top of my head about him, but worth seeking out. Great cover too, on the United label. This is probably from '64 or something like that. Is another sort of well-known artist, and a record you kind of do see, but not always in nice shape. This should be around $20. Wilson Pickett, the exciting Wilson Pickett. Atlantic Records, 1966. Nice original company there. Little labels on this. I believe they're, the plum. This is mono. There's probably a stereo on this one. Yeah, it is a mono, as you can see there. Wilson Pickett. I have a couple Wilson Pickett records. The Hey Jude record. Yeah, I don't listen to these that often lately, so it's cool to pull these out. But he's doing all kinds of, Mercy Mercies, some, a lot of standards. 99 and a half, In the Midnight Hour. Yeah, he wrote with Steve Cropper on this. There's a Bobby Womack track. Steve Cropper, of course, of the MGs. Chris Kenner. Yeah, more Cropper and Eddie Floyd. Don Covey. Anyway, solid soul record for Wilson Pickett. On Atlantic. I love this one. I remember finding this in... Does this have the sticker? I paid $20 for this, apparently. I don't know what it's worth now. This is many years ago. That probably was a lot for me then. Anyway, Charles Wright and the 103rd Street Rhythm Band. This has their big hit on Express Yourself. This one gets pretty deep, though, I think. Pretty big group that he had going. This is on that Warner 7 Arts label. Everyone likes these green labels, right? I remember buying this in Brattleboro. In the Moment, I think it was the name of that record store. I think it's still there. Great psychedelic cover. As was the spirit of the time. I love that sleeve. Bit of a notch cut, but yeah, this one, again, check the variations. If you're interested or looking for it, don't go spending, on some variation that someone's asking $50 for this. No, it should be around $20. That price is about accurate even for now. Alright. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see where I go with this series after this. Could do something more specialized. I could get into international, European. I just don't have enough of that stuff. I definitely have some, but not enough to really sort of like really bring them all together as like a cheap heat, or as I like to do, 11 under 30. Here's a funky gospel record, or at least it's on a sub label. Baby Washington, With You in Mind, another great sleeve on the Veep label. This is, I think, from '67. She's doing a bunch of different people's songs. Tina Turner's credited for a few, that's for sure. Baby Washington. It says Veep Gospel on the labels. This should be about around 20 for this one as well, 2025. Nice LP, great voice. Okay, a few more. How's everybody doing? I'm so glad. Inez and Charlie Fox. This is a great duo out of North Carolina. I really enjoyed this. This was a fun one. Sort of Charlie doing the rock and guitar, Inez vocal. Cool duo on the Dynamo label. That's what those labels look like. Out of North Carolina, as I said. Only a few LPs that they did, but Greensboro, North Carolina, it says here. Come By Here was a recent smash single, which is the first track on here. They are mostly writing credited as songwriters on this, so that's good. There they are, though. Come By Here, Miss Inez and Charlie Fox on Dynamo. But, this is not expensive. I think this was about a $10 record, but do you see it that often? I don't know. Tell me if you do. And the last record I have, I just saw this at Angry Mom for 10, although I've had this earlier. This one has a little rip on the cover, but Shirley Ellis out of the Bronx. This is a great live album on the Congress label. A lot of fun, this record. She's just ripping. There's that Congress label. And that's it. That's 11 records. I showed the Brenton Wood. I highly recommend looking for that record if you can find it, but it will not be, fortunately not anymore, $30. That double shot label is kind of collectible too. Shirley Ellis in action. That's it. We'll see where I go with this series. Hopefully more. If you haven't seen the other ones, I'll link to the playlist of those below. If you have ones you want to throw out in the comments that you think are, records worth investigating, original pressings from the under $30 range, and probably cheaper. There can be some cheap soul records that are some good heat, so feel free to throw that out there. Otherwise, take care, and more to come.